So from Mexico, came back, ended up at Howard University.
Oh yeah, many years later, Howard University was amazing. That was amazing.
What is your favorite Howard memory or experience?
Well, our anthem was "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud."
Hey now.
That was it. I'm going to write a movie about it. I really am, because it was such an explosive time coming into Howard University and just being seeped in your culture and your cultural identity, and then to be in the middle of the chaos with the assassination of Martin Luther King. That was all in my freshman year. It was a lot of growing up. It was a lot of, coming into age very quickly.
I'm trying to think of a gentle way to breach this next subject because...
Why? Why do you have to be gentle?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I'm just socialized to try and be that way.
Okay.
This just became a therapy session. Now I'm just like, oh my God, why am I so gentle? Oh no.
I'm going to start questioning you.
Oh no. Okay. All right. I'll ask the questions here, madam. Are you aware that there is a conversation on the internet about whether or not you pledged any sorority, and if so, whether it was Delta or AKA? Is that something that you're like conscious of? Like,
I'm not aware of the conversation, but I'm aware of it every time I'm in the company of multiple Black women who go ooey or skewy, and they talk to me. So I was at Howard University. My sister Felicia Rashad, whose footsteps I was following everywhere, pledged AKA.
okay.
So I was going to pledge AKA, and I went and I made line, and my interview, I just remember it. I was just so sharp. They thought I was schooled or I don't know what. But they were gunning for me. They were going to really let me have it. But my mother, Vivian Ayers, said to me, if you pledge a sorority, then I'm going to take all the money that I have saved to send you to dance school in the summer, and I'm going to buy a car because your consciousness is not in the right place.
Oh,
your focus is off. And I'm like, no, Mom, no, okay. So I dropped out of line. And so I never did pledge, and I went to the New London Dance Festival where I met Alvin Ailey, where I met the protege of Katherine Dunham. I met Twyla Thorpe. I met Martha Graham. I met the greatest icons in the dance world, and Mama was right.
Yeah. So worth it.
Yeah, see, that's what she did. Those were her tricks.
How do you think the trajectory of your life and career would have been different had you not gone to an HBCU?
Wow, well, I tried to go to a school of the arts that rejected me, that was not predominantly Black. I think things happen in your life for a reason, and you might not always understand it. You can't accept it, but sometimes it's the best thing for you. I mean, I grew up in Houston, Texas, in an all-Black environment because everything was segregated. Our elementary, junior, and senior high schools, movie theaters, everything was segregated. Until I want to say 65, somewhere around there, things started to really change. When they started to make us play the songs the other band was playing, we're like, oh, hell no. Don't play that horrible march. We want some soul, anyway.
Sauce on it, as the kids say.
So I think Howard was the right place for me. It defined me in a way that I had no idea it could. To be not only at Howard, but to be in Washington, D.C., the center of the capital of this country, which is a predominantly Black city, and to just be in a place where you were never the minority, you were always the majority, and your opinion mattered. And it counted for something. And so we came out of Howard knowing we were getting ready to roll and rule the world.
Absolutely.
And so my mother had already convinced us of that, but Howard, validated it. It just did. Those professors, those teachers.
Yeah.
When I did the movie Amistad, Howard University is how I came to that story, going to the bookstore. I picked up a book called Amistad, a collection of essays by Black academicians and philosophers, and in the front of it was a preface that talked about what Amistad was, this slave ship upon which there was a mutiny. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Howard University has been it fueled me when I did A Different World, when I did that movie. All of my teachers were my best advisors. Howard University is a big part of my DNA.
I cannot leave your home until I talk to you about A Different World, because it's the reason why I feel like we grew up together. You know, even though I did not see you physically on the screen in every episode, once I learned and found out that you were the one behind the camera, I was like, oh, of course this is Debbie Allen, of course. I am very, very taken with your entry to the show, which you joined second season, correct?
My coming into this show was certainly somewhere between my sister, who was, you know, Denise's mother and had visited the campus of Hillman on the show, and seeing what was happening behind the scenes. There was not a happy place at A Different World behind the scenes. They didn't quite have the right producing director there.
Yeah.
Felicia went back and talked to Bill, and the next thing I know, I was getting a phone call from him saying, we need you to get out your broom and dust it off over there. Go and clean house. I said, all right. So then I met with Marcy Carsey, Tom Werner, and Karen Mondebach. And I said, okay, give me every episode. They said, you want to watch every episode? I said, absolutely. So I know how I'm going to fix this and what we're going to do. And so then it was about breaking down in the writer's room to let them open up to new ideas. And Denise, yes, she was pregnant. And we were going to do such great stories about a girl who was a Black girl from an upper middle class family, pregnant and not married for a change, not, you know, how it's usually portrayed. And then finally I took her to meet Bill to tell him, and he saw us coming. It was the funniest meeting. Oh my God. Anyway, he said, no, Debbie, Lisa Bonet is pregnant, not Denise Huxtable. No, you can't have it. I'm like, okay. Because it was going to be great. We wanted to use that, but it was a little early for him to let go. But we made the show so relevant. Jasmine Guy, I had brought to Los Angeles. She was one of my famed dancers. And then Kadeem Hardison, I had known him as a kid. His mother, Beth Hardison, was one of the baddest models in New York, and we were friends. And I remember him coming over as a little kid, jumping on my waterbed. And he said, I'm your Kadeem. I'm like, huh? I'm like, oh my God, it's you. So we took that show apart and put it back together. Susan Fales was amazing as the lead writer on that show. We developed that show and made it so relevant and made everybody want to go to college. We tripled the enrollment of historically Black colleges, yes. And we made all kids, Black and white, everybody wanted to go to college because they felt that there was something there that they connected to, that they loved, that they wanted to have that experience. Having come from Howard University, I knew what to do with this show. I had lived it and breathed it. So I knew the stories that they needed to be telling. Not
and
people
what were those stories?
Well, they didn't need to be walking around talking about an egg. They needed to be doing stories about voter registration or date rape, their cultural identity. You know, who is Whitley Gilbert? Who is the boy in this cast that she needs to be with? And I was hands down, it's Dwayne.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. I said, it's Dwayne. So don't tell me about some pretty boy. That's not, no. She's going to go with whoever's more intelligent than she is, can make her laugh and give her shit.
And earns her.
Yes, honey.
Absolutely.
Claimed his woman.
I wonder if you got a lot of pushback with the changes that you were trying to make. Like, what do you think the impact of having Denise on the show, pregnant, upper middle class, but still at school, like what impact do you think that would have had on viewers?
It would have been a huge impact because already the Cosby Show was changing the way people were looking at Black people. For what reason? It took a television show for them to realize that we are middle class, just like everybody else, upper middle class. This was something that people weren't ready. They just weren't ready for it. I don't know why. Yeah. We wanted it, but we did many other things they weren't ready for. I was always being called into what I call the principal's office for doing shows that were, you know, really about something. We did an episode once called Mammy Dearest, where we reclaimed the image of Aunt Jemima. We took her out of that gingham fabric and we took that gingham mammy dress and wrapped it like an African queen. And this was one of the most difficult episodes we had to do because we had people that were wearing blackface, and it was very controversial. But we were just dealing with it straight up. And then the cutest little white boy that you ever wanted to see in your life is who wrote it, Glenn Berenbaum.
ask.
Yes, he wrote it. It was amazing. And then I introduced Ego Tripping, Nikki Giovanni. That was Howard University speaking again.
Yes.
You know, because we met Nikki, we were all doing that. Yes, they didn't know anything about that. We need to introduce it again.
I think that's how I became aware of Nikki Giovanni's existence.
From that time.
From that episode. Because when she was like, I turned myself into myself, and I said, what? Who is this lady, and how can I be like her?
Well, this is the thing. Television is so powerful. This is something that I'm sure is part of what your conversation is, and while you're talking to any of us. Television, film is so powerful. It penetrates. It's for the arts to address those things that are most difficult, challenging, things that people need to know about.
Right.
And if we're not doing that, we're not really doing a good job.
Yeah. I really, really want to talk to you about you and your sister Felicia on Solange's album.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how, I did not know until today that the poetry that you and Felicia are reading is from your mom.
It's from a poem called On Status, one of my mom's poems from her book Spice of Dawns. And this was the book of poetry that was the contender for a nominee. And so it's about a woman who comes from a very simple place and aspires to be in a big city and all these other places, but realizes that where she really belongs is with the folk that she comes from and what really matters. So we did this Mother's Day special, oh my God, 25 years ago, I don't know how long ago, where we kind of surprised our mom. It was me, Felicia, and my brother Tex, and we recited one of her poems on Status, a beautiful poem. It's something I used to win poetry contests with when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Solange had seen that special and really liked it. I'm friends with her mom, Tina. And so Tina called me and says, Debbie, Solange is just obsessed with this, you and your sister's poem. I said, really? I said, of course she can have it. She can have anything she wants. Aww. So Felicia and I said yes to, you know, that poem is, how does it go? It says, I boarded a train, kissed all goodbye, and in my heart was a sympathetic sigh, for I would go and live in a city where people and hearts and buildings were bigger, while they remained to work and toil in a town whose thriving was of soil. For long it worked, I knew no distress. I even decided to write them less. What need had I for old folk degenerate, whose living and thinking was way out of date? Then one quiet day I found all of me confusion bound with problems as high as Jack's beanstalk and no one with whom to talk. My dilemma was all my own. No counseling dad, no kindness shown, and for once I knew my real status, cockroach in a park theater. Now my heart knows no delight like a trip back to the old home site, and not for money would I scoff at a screen door hanging off. So they got no tall skyscrapers, clowns in nightclubs cutting capers. It's home. The folk are warm, and most important, I belong. Thank you. I just needed that first line.
That was beautiful. Yeah. At this, like, as you're sitting here now reciting this poem that, as I'm listening to it, seems to reflect so much of you and your life, like, what does it feel like? How do you connect with that poem now?
What's interesting, because I was winning poetry contests with it when I was like 12 and 13 years old. And it's so true, because my life and career has taken me around the world. I've seen everything, but at the end of the day, it's really my family that makes me whole. It's really my family's love for me that makes me feel like I can keep going and doing what I do. It's that.
So tell me about what is Hot Chocolate Nutcracker?
Well, it is a new telling of the classic Nutcracker. It's something I was involved with many years ago. You know, Ellington wrote a Nutcracker suite that is all of the music from Tchaikovsky, but it's jazz. And we did a version then using that music. But Gil Cates, who was my personal rabbi, he produced the Oscars 10, 15 times. I don't know. I did all of them with him. He said, Debbie, you need a Christmas show. You need to do a Christmas show. So I said, okay. So finally I wrote it, and I was inspired by my son, Thump, who when he was a little boy, he's 30 now, but when he was like 5, I took him downtown to see the Nutcracker. He was bored to death, child. And when they started dancing, and he's like, Mom, when is the rat coming? He said it out loud. He said it out loud. The whole audience screamed. I said, and that stuck with me. I said, okay, the boys want to see a rat. So I created something called the Rat Pack. And I took who was the Mouse King and made him Harvey, a New Yorker who's got 2 sidekicks. And they're like, enough already with this battle with the Nutcracker. We're going to change this around. And it's just a musical fun delight. And we go to the land of the candy canes. We still go to Fairyland, but we go to Egypt. We go to to New Orleans. We go to Birdland. We go to China. We go all original music composed by Arturo Sandoval, James Ingram, some Mariah Carey,
Love James
my girl,
Ingram.
right? Ricky Minor, all of us. And it is just a new classic. And I'm telling you, every time we do it, we sell out. So
Really?
the 10th anniversary was off the hook. It was off the hook. I'm hoping one day we'll make it a movie. There's gonna be a behind the scenes special on Netflix.
I can't wait.
Christmas time, yeah. It's coming. Shonda Rhimes actually produced it.
Shout out to Shonda.
Yeah.